What's going on, guys? Welcome into the first edition of my standings prediction series. Now, on Thursday on Blazers Uprise Live, we're going to be doing a stream featured around standings predictions. We'll get all our moderators' standings predictions, we'll get Eric's standings predictions, and I'll go into a little bit more depth on what I think about each team in the league in that stream. But I will touch upon a few different things as I predict the win-loss records for every team in the Eastern Conference. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell button to be notified whenever I drop a video. As far as post-game streams go, we've been doing them over on our second channel, Blazers Uprise Live, so definitely go subscribe to that. There will be a link in the top of the description for this video. And with that, let's not waste any more of your time. Let's jump into my standings predictions. I'm going to start off with the 5 teams that won't make the playoffs or the play-in. And at 15, I have the Orlando Magic with a record of 22-60. It pains me to put the Magic this low. I am a huge Jalen Suggs fan. He is now officially my favorite non-Blazer in the entire NBA. This is a team that has been injury prone and kind of blew it up at the trade deadline last year. They have Jonathan Isaac coming back. They'll also get Markelle Fultz back at some point, so they'll probably be better later on in the season when Jalen Suggs has gotten some NBA experience, with Jonathan Isaac is back and comfortable, and when Markelle Fultz is back. But they are definitely, in my opinion, the least talented team in this conference, so I have them at 15. At 14, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I feel like they could be a sneaky team for a play-in spot. I don't have them close to one, but they're one of those teams that are really hard for me to figure out. They do have some talent. They traded away Larry Nance Jr. for Lauri Markkanen. They got Evan Mobley coming in. They still got Kevin Love for some reason. They haven't bought him out, and he makes way too much money for them to trade him, so we'll see if he's on their team at the end of the season. I would bet yes. I mean, you still got the backcourt of Sexton and Garland. Okoro is in his second year. You got Jared Allen there. I mean, you got some talent on this team. I think Garland takes a jump this year. This could be a team that surprises, much like the New York Knicks did last year. We'll just have to wait and see. But if I have to play some, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to have them at 14. At 13, I have the Detroit Pistons with a record of 28-54. They got Cade Cunningham coming in. They got Jeremy Grant. They got Kelly Olynyk. That's not a bad big three for a lottery team. That's a pretty talented big three. Kelly Olynyk looked phenomenal last year. Jeremy Grant became a fringe all-star caliber player last season. And then you got the #1 overall pick in a loaded draft. Detroit is another team that could surprise some people. It's weird because the Eastern Conference usually has a bunch of bottom feeders that you know are going to be bottom feeders, but outside the Orlando Magic, none of the teams in the Eastern Conference really scream terrible to me. At 12, I have the Washington Wizards. They let go of Russell Westbrook and brought in Spencer Dinwiddie, and also got Kyle Kuzma and Montrezl Harrell, and honestly their team doesn't really make much sense to me. They got Bradley Beal in there, but outside of him, they really don't have a good NBA player, in my opinion. Spencer Dinwiddie's probably their second best player. He's a below average starting point guard. They did get rid of Scott Brooks, who's now in Portland, and brought in, I forgot who they brought in as their head coach. I need to freshen up on that, so maybe whoever they got now is able to help them out, but I got the Washington Wizards at 12, falling back from the 8th seed, which they had last season. At 11, I have the Toronto Raptors, and I would have the Raptors higher if Pascal Siakam wasn't going to miss the first month and a half to 2 months. He is their best player at this point. Now that they lost Kyle Lowry, it's not even an argument. They do have Scotty Barnes, who is an exciting rookie, and you got Gary Trent Jr. there, but he just got paid. Fred VanVleet's still there. Chris Boucher's still there, so you still got some players on that roster. It's just not that great of a roster without Pascal Siakam. With Siakam for a full season, I think they would be in position for a play-in spot, but without him, I have them on the outside looking in at 11. So the Magic, Cavs, Pistons, Wizards, and Raptors, I don't have making a play-in spot. Now let's jump over to the top 10. Let's start with the last play-in team, which I think is going to be the Charlotte Hornets with a record of 38-44. LaMelo Ball's in his second season. Gordon Hayward, hopefully he's able to stay healthy for an entire season. You have PJ Washington, who maybe he has a jump in production production considering he has to go get himself paid since he's paying $200,000 a month in child support payments. And you also got a paid Terry Rozier on Charlotte. So you got some players, you got some hoopers, man. They probably would have been a top 8 seed last year if they didn't have injury issues, but you do have some injury prone players. It's hard to put them above a 10 seed, and honestly, they're not more talented than any of the teams I have above them, so they're coming in at 10. Now at 9, I have a team with a winning record that is going to surprise some people. I am not as high on the Chicago Bulls as other people are. I have them winning 43 games, though, 43 and 39. I have 9 Eastern Conference teams with a winning record. The Bulls just don't make a lot of sense to me. They went out and they got names in the past year, so people love them because of the names on their roster, but defensively, they're an average roster at best. Vucevic, Levine, and DeRozan are all below average defenders. Patrick Williams is going to miss some time. You do have some good defenders off the bench with Alex Caruso and Derrick Jones Jr. However, offensively, I think they have one of the worst bench lineups in the entire NBA. This is a team that is a more offensive-heavy team, but offensively, their pieces don't really make a ton of sense. You got Lonzo Ball there, and they're saying he's going to be playing more point guard, but then they went out and got a forward who basically plays like a point guard, and DeMar DeRozan, who struggles to play off the ball, doesn't shoot threes. He's a guy that kind of needs the ball in his hands, and that doesn't make much sense next to Alonzo Ball and Zach LaVine backcourt, so I don't like the DeRozan fit there. I think they'll probably be a borderline top 10 offense. I don't think they'll be better than a league average defense, so therefore I have them coming in at 9. I know a lot of people have them higher. I just don't. At 8, I got the Indiana Pacers. They are another team that's had a lot of injury issues in the past couple of seasons. TJ Warren is out indefinitely. Hopefully some of their other pieces are able to be healthier than they have in seasons past. They bring in Rick Carlisle as coach, and I'm not super high on Rick Carlisle like other people are, so I don't think he's as much of a difference maker as people think. They got a nice roster that can't stay healthy. It's just hard to figure out what the Pacers could be. I could see them challenging for a top 4 seed, or I could see them completely out of the playoffs. This is one of those wildcard teams that I just don't really know where to rank, so I'm just splitting the difference here at 8. At 7, I have the New York Knicks, who I think overachieved a little bit last year, but I don't think it was a fluke per se. I have them winning 44 games, and I don't think they're going to be a top 3 defense like they were last year. They were phenomenal defensively. Tom Thibodeau did a great job coaching them up on the defensive end, and I just look at their roster, man, and I just don't know if that defensive production is sustainable. I don't know if that's a one-year outlier. I mean, they don't have the best defensive players on the roster, so their defense carried them last year. Their offense fell apart in the postseason. It'll be interesting to see how Julius Randle plays this season. It'll be interesting to see if he regresses a little bit after the jump he took last year. New York's another hard team to figure out. They shocked everybody last year by making a postseason run and then got whooped in the first round by the Hawks, so that's another team that's going to be interesting to watch. At 6, I have the Boston Celtics with 45 wins, 37 losses. Ime Udoka is their coach now. That's a guy I like this past offseason. Brad Stevens steps up to the front office. You still got Jaylen Brown. You still got Jason Tatum. So when you have those two guys, you're going to have a chance. Jaylen Brown took a jump last year. It'll be interesting to see if he's able to build even more upon that. Jason Tatum, I feel like everybody's waiting for him to make that jump into being a bottom tier superstar. We'll see if that jump happens this season. If it does, this is a team that could also challenge for the top 4 in the Eastern Conference, but right now I just have them coming in at 6. At 5, I have the Atlanta Hawks, who made a surprise Eastern Conference Finals run last season. I have them winning 47 games. This is another one of those teams that's just interesting. You got so many interesting teams in the Eastern Conference, and I'll probably say that about every team in the Western Conference, where every team is just interesting to me. It's just going to be fascinating to see how they're able to build on that playoff run they made last year, because Trae Young looked like a superstar during that playoff run. I don't think he's quite there yet. I don't think he's a top 10 player yet, but he's obviously a player that can lead a team to a conference finals, at least in the East. So we'll see if John Collins can make a jump. We'll see if Kevin Huerter can make a jump. We'll see how DeAndre Hunter looks in his 3rd year. Hopefully he's able to have a healthier season. Cameron Reddish is a guy who's been inconsistent his first 2 years, and if he makes makes a jump, he could raise their ceiling. You got a lot of interesting young players on this Hawks team that if they're able to make jumps in production, maybe we start talking about the Hawks as a contender. I doubt it, but I wouldn't say it's not possible. At 4, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. It's going to be the Ben Simmons saga until he's out of that organization. He's not playing for them, so I only have them winning 47 games right now. And we have to wait and see on who they get back in a Ben Simmons trade. That would obviously affect my prediction. It also depends on how soon they trade him, because if they wait till the trade deadline, then they're going to have nothing for him until then. If they trade him at the start of the regular season, they'll at least have some production to start the season from maybe a Malcolm Brogdon or whoever they trade Ben Simmons for. I don't know. At 3, I have the Miami Heat winning 48 games. I think the Heat are a little bit overrated going into this season. However, you have question marks with pretty much all the teams below them, and the Heat don't have as many. They brought in Kyle Lowry, which I thought was a really good pickup for them. You got Jimmy Butler still. I don't think Victor Oladipo is going to do much this season. He's been injured a lot, and his production the past couple seasons has just cratered. But you got some star power there with Bam as well, and it's just a team that you pretty much know what they are. They don't have as many question marks as a lot of the other teams in the Eastern Conference, so therefore I have them coming in at 3. At 2, I have the Brooklyn Nets, who have a ton of question marks going into this season. It's their first full season with Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant, LaMarcus Aldridge is back, Blake Griffin's there. However, Kyrie isn't practicing right now, and he won't play in home games because he doesn't want to get vaccinated. So without Kyrie for half the season, without being able to practice with him, that definitely lowers the Nets' ceiling and lowers their floor as well. James Harden has dealt with some injury issues the past couple years. Obviously, Kevin Durant has had his fair share of injury issues. So if one of those guys goes out and Kyrie isn't playing for their home games, then that's a team that isn't that scary to me. Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge are past their prime, and I mean, if it's just the Kevin Durant show, if James Harden's injured and Kyrie isn't playing, then I think that's a beatable team. I still think they have enough talent to overcome a lot of those question marks and get a 2 seed with a 53-win season, but this is a team that has more question marks than they should. And at number 1, I have the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks with a 55-27 record. They lose PJ Tucker, which I think is going to be a bigger loss than some people might think, but you still got Giannis. If Giannis's free throw shooting can improve and his 3-point shooting ability can improve, watch out. The league is probably done for. You still got Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. I think those guys are still going to be hungry even after winning the championship. They're going to be trying to go back-to-back. That's not a team that I feel like would have much of a finals hangover, but we'll have to wait and see. It's definitely possible, but right now they are the most surefire thing and the team with the least amount of question marks as we head into the season. Therefore, I have them coming in at number 1. So those are my Eastern Conference standings predictions. If you want to, you can leave your predictions down in the comment section below. Those would be pretty cool to read. And that's a wrap for the video. I'm out of here. Until next time, peace out. Go Blazers.